Hey, JulesBlessedVegan, and as always, welcome to my channel. And for those of you who are new, I know you can benefit. Hey, for my regulars, thank you so much for being loyal when I'm missing in action. All right, it's the end of the school year. I am doing my best to just take it in stride. There's so much expected of me right now. It is crazy. But I wanted to check in with my JVV community. I have a fantastic article on Does Food Combining Work? And this is from Healthline. I always appreciate Healthline because it has summaries and a bottom line. So of course I'll include it in the description of the video. For me personally, I kind of have what's referred to as an iron stomach. Things don't really bother me on how they're combined, but I know there are more efficient ways to eat, and certainly when I'm eating clean, I am a little more aware of how I'm affected by food, so it's a tough one that way. But mostly I believe that God made the body very capable, as we can certainly see from people eating food-like products and yet surviving. I mean, are they thriving? No, but they're living many, many years on things that aren't even technically food. So yeah, the body's very capable. Should we honor it by trying to eat more correctly? Absolutely. But there are a lot of crazy rules and I can't keep up with them, and I'm such a perfectionist that if I do it wrong, I'll start to freak out, and then all my disordered eating comes into play. So I just have to kind of know, is it God's food? Is it vegan? Am I okay? Eat it. But let's see what this has to say. Food combining is a philosophy of eating that has ancient roots, but has become extremely popular in recent years. Proponents of food combining diets believe that improper food combinations can lead to disease, toxic buildup, and digestive issues. They also believe that proper combinations can actually relieve these problems. But is there any truth to these claims? This article will take a closer look at the research to determine whether food combining is effective. What is food combining? So glad you asked. Food combining is a concept based on the idea that certain foods pair well while others do not. The belief is that combining foods improperly, for example, eating steak with potatoes, can lead to negative effects on health and digestion. I mean, isn't meat and potatoes like the American way for all of time? I never heard that was a conflict. Food combining principles first appeared in Ayurvedic medicine of ancient India, but they became more widely popularized in the mid-1800s under the term trophology, or the science of food combining. It's an actual science. The principles of food combining were revived in the early 1900s by the Hay diet, Hay. Since then, food combining has become a popular practice supported by some in the health and wellness world. Understatement of the year. Like, right? It's so out there. Generally, food combining diets assign foods to different groups. These are usually broken down into carbs and starches, fruits, including sweet fruits, acidic fruits, and melons, vegetables, proteins, and fats. Alternatively, some plans classify foods as acidic, alkaline, or neutral. I'm kind of familiar with that. Food combining diets specify how you should combine these groups in a meal. And here's some common rules, and this is where my brain just starts to go crazy, and I'm just like, the laws of food combining, right, can vary somewhat depending on the source, but the most common rules are eat fruit only on an empty stomach, especially melons. Now, I'm completely familiar with melons being eaten alone, even though I certainly combine them with things and do fine. But eat fruit only on an empty stomach, not fruit, because my gosh, what about what people put in smoothies? What about how it's always encouraged that you have greens with your fruit? So you know what I mean. Number 2, avoid combining starches and proteins, like that meat and potato example. Number 3, avoid combining starches with acidic foods. Number 4, avoid combining different types of protein. So interesting. And number 5, consume dairy products only on an empty stomach, especially milk. Now, of course, I can't recommend dairy at all because I'm vegan, but that's just of interest to me in the sense that a lot of people would say don't even drink milk by itself because it can cause diarrhea or an upset stomach. And certainly people use milk specifically for things like cereal. Okay, other rules say the protein should not be mixed with fat. Sugar should only be eaten alone. And fruits and vegetables should be eaten separately. So interesting again, because sugar being eaten alone, do they literally mean tablespoons of sugar? Because otherwise, sugar is going to be combined with other ingredients to even make whatever the treat is, right? So yeah, it's very confusing to me. But of course, share in the comments below, because I know a lot of you are diehards and you're like, oh God, if I eat those two things together, my whole day is shot, or I'm gonna get sick. Like, I know people have their stuff, so of course I'm always interested in hearing and also knowing how I can support you. Okay, so beliefs behind food combining. The rules of food combining are mostly based on two beliefs. The first is that because foods are digested at different speeds, combining a fast digesting food with a slow digesting food causes a traffic jam in your digestive tract, leading to negative effects on health and digestion. Now, even though I have what's considered an iron stomach, I absolutely agree that sometimes I will back up my stomach by eating something out of order. I kind of understand that idea. The second belief is that different foods require different enzymes to be broken down, and that these enzymes work at varying pH levels, which are the levels of acidity in your gut. Now, that's kind of where I have to say that God is bigger and that the body is very capable of breaking things down. The idea is that if two foods require different pH levels, your body cannot properly digest both at the same time. Again, the body is very capable. But yeah, sure. Really focusing on all this certainly could ease your burden. I mean, it's like the way everybody wants to blend everything down to baby food because it's just much easier for your body. That's a hard no for me. I will eat chunks of vegetables and chunks of fruit all day long because it's just more satiating, and I enjoy chewing and stuff. I don't need to make everything into a blended. I just don't. But hey, to each his own. Okay. So proponents of food combining diets believe that these principles are essential to proper health and digestion. They also believe that improper combining of food causes toxins to build up and leads to negative health consequences such as digestive distress and disease. No doubt, people will complain about gas and bloating. I get it. Again, this comes with a summary, but because I'm sharing the whole thing, I'm going to move right on. You're welcome to come back and read this. What does the evidence say? So far, only one 2000 study, so a study in the year 2000, I guess, has examined the principles. So far, only one 2000 study, it's got to be the year 2000, has examined the principles of food combining. It looked at whether a diet based on food combining had an effect on weight loss, and that's a hyperlink. Participants were split into two groups and given either a balanced diet or a diet based on the principles of food combining. On both diets, they were allowed to eat only 1,100 calories per day. Wow, that is seriously calorie restricting. After 6 weeks, participants in both groups had lost an average of 13 to 18 pounds, or 6 to 8 kilogram. Wait, kg, that's kilogram, right? But the food combining diet offered no benefit over the balanced diet. Okay. Yeah, I mean, just for the restricting of calories, I'm not surprised in 6 weeks they lost that amount of weight. I'm quite sure they couldn't keep it off, but there's a hyperlink indicating why. Okay, in fact, there's no evidence to support most of the principles of food combining. I know. It's painful. I know. Let's read that one more time. There's no evidence, not some, not little, no evidence to support most of the principles of food combining. What's more, many of the original food combining diets were developed more than 100 years ago when much less was known about nutrition and digestion. What we know now about basic biochemistry and nutritional science directly contradicts most of the principles of food combining. Here's a closer look at the science behind the claims on avoiding mixed meals. The term mixed meals refers to meals that contain a combination of fat, carbs, and protein. Okay, what's classic about that is that all fruit and vegetables have a natural balance of fats, carbs, and proteins, like in every single element. So that's just kind of funny. The rules of food combining are largely based on the idea that the body is not equipped to digest mixed meals. And that's what I'm saying. God made our bodies super competent, super able, so I agree. However, this is not the case. As the human body evolved on a diet of whole foods, which almost always contains some combination of carbs, protein, and fat. For example, vegetables and grains are typically considered carb-containing foods, but they also contain several grams of protein per serving. Additionally, although meat is considered a protein food, even lean meat contains some fat. Therefore, because many foods contain a combination of carbs, fat, and protein, your digestive tract is always prepared to digest a mixed meal. I so agree. When food enters your stomach, gastric acid is released along with the enzymes pepsin and lipase, which help start digestion of protein and fat. Research shows that pepsin and lipase are released even if your food contains no protein or fat. Wow. Next, food moves into your small intestine. There, the gastric acid from your stomach is neutralized, and your intestine is flooded with enzymes that work to break down proteins, fats, and carbs. For this reason, there's no need to worry that your body will have to choose between digesting protein and fat or starches and protein. In fact, it's specifically prepared for this type of multitasking. Yay us! I mean, seriously, people, I have to talk about this because I get really caught up in rules, okay? And I start to freak out. And I'm the queen of disordered eating, okay? I can immediately, panic over this, and oh my gosh, I'm only going to have this, and I'm only going to eat yellow food today, and I'm only going to eat a cup at a time. I get crazy. And I'm not blaming anyone on it. You know what I mean? It's not like how I was treated by my mom or my belly button family or anything. It's just a mindset that I have, and I accidentally fall into it. So I have to be really careful. But I was super curious about this because it'll stop me in my tracks. I'm also one of those perfectionists, feast or famine. If I screwed up anyway, I might as well binge. I'm one of those. And so I just wanted to see, can some of the pressure be removed? And this article says yes. Something's getting me. Okay, on food altering the pH of the digestive tract. Another theory behind food combining is that eating the wrong foods together can hinder digestion by creating the wrong pH for certain enzymes to function. The pH scale measures how acidic or alkaline a solution is, and it ranges from 0 to 14, where 0 is the most acidic, 7 neutral, and 14 the most alkaline. And these are all hyperlinks, of course. It is true that enzymes need a specific pH range to function properly, and that not all enzymes in the digestive tract require the same pH. However, eating foods that are more alkaline or acidic does not significantly change the pH in your digestive tract, and your body has several ways of keeping the pH of each part of your digestive tract within the correct range. For example, your stomach is usually very acidic, with a low pH of 1 to 2.5. But when you eat a meal, it may initially rise as high as 5. However, more gastric acid is quickly released until the pH comes back down. See how efficient the body is? Maintaining this low pH is important because it helps start the digestion of proteins and activates the enzymes produced in your stomach. It also helps kill any bacteria in food. In fact, the pH inside your stomach is so acidic that the only reason your stomach lining isn't destroyed is that it's protected by a layer of mucus. Again, there's a bunch of hyperlinks here, and you can certainly look more intensely into all of this. Your small intestine, on the other hand, is not equipped to handle such an acidic pH. Your small intestine adds bicarbonate to the mix as soon as the contents of your stomach enter it. Bicarbonate is your body's natural buffering system. It is very alkaline, so it neutralizes the gastric acid, keeping the pH around 6 or 7. Brilliant. This is the pH at which the enzymes in your small intestine function best. In this way, the different levels of acidity in your digestive tract are well controlled by your body's own sensors. If you eat a very acidic or alkaline meal, your body will add more or less digestive juices as needed to achieve the necessary pH level. Now, I get it. The counter argument is this is assuming that you don't have issues and that your body is running or functioning, well enough. It's true for most people, but certainly other people have had surgeries or take medications and different things that throw these off. But this is in the ideal situation of what the human body is capable of doing and what its function is to keep it neutral. I love it. On food fermenting in the stomach. One of the most common supposed effects of improper food combining is that food ferments or putrefies in your stomach. Supposedly, when a fast-digesting food is combined with a slow-digesting food, the fast-digesting food stays in your stomach so long that it begins to ferment. However, this does not happen. Fermentation and rotting occur when microorganisms start to digest your food. But, as mentioned earlier, your stomach maintains such an acidic pH that almost no bacteria can survive. There is one place in your digestive tract where bacteria thrive and fermentation does occur. This is your large intestine, also known as your colon, where trillions of beneficial bacteria live. The bacteria in your large intestine ferment any undigested carbs such as fiber and release gas and beneficial short-chain fatty acids as waste products. In this case, fermentation is actually a good thing. The fatty acids the bacteria produce have been linked to health benefits such as reduced inflammation, improved blood sugar control, and a lower risk of colon cancer. Yay God. This also means that the gas you experience after a meal is not necessarily a bad thing, but instead can be a sign that your friendly bacteria are well fed. In Asian countries, burping is a sign of thank you or a good gesture. Yeah, this is your bacteria going woo woo. Okay, evidence-based examples of food combining. Although the principles of food combining diets are not backed by science, that doesn't mean that the way you combine food is always irrelevant. For instance, there are many evidence-based food combinations that can significantly improve or reduce the digestion and absorption of certain foods. And here are a few examples. Citrus fruits and iron. Iron comes in two forms in the diet. Heme iron, which comes from meat, and non-heme iron, which comes from plant sources. Heme iron is well absorbed, but your body's absorption rate for non-heme iron is very low, from 1 to 10%. Luckily, there are several things you can do to increase your absorption of this kind of iron. Adding vitamin C is one of the most effective ways to increase iron absorption. In addition to making non-heme iron more easily absorbable, vitamin C decreases the ability for phytic acid to block iron absorption. This means combining foods rich in vitamin C, such as citrus fruit and bell peppers, with plant-based sources of iron, such as spinach, beans, fortified cereals, is an excellent choice. Unfortunately, studies have not shown that this combination actually increases iron levels in the body. However, this could simply be the studies to date have been too small. They didn't have the funding, right? Okay, carrots and fat. Certain nutrients, such as fat-soluble vitamins and I always have trouble with that word, carotenoids, need fat in order to be absorbed by the body. Carotenoids are compounds found in red, orange, and dark green vegetables, including carrots, tomatoes, red bell peppers, spinach, and broccoli. Studies show that carotenoid-rich diets may reduce the risk of some health conditions such as certain cancers, heart disease, and vision problems. However, research has shown that if you consume these vegetables without any fat, eating plain carrot sticks or a salad with fat-free dressing, for instance, you may be missing out on the benefits. Wow, so interesting, because they often say, oh, don't eat fat, first of all, until dinner time, and don't eat fat with, your fruit, da-da-da, and I'm like, well, I mean, look at, what are we supposed to do now? Because I eat a whole bunch of, oranges for breakfast, and I usually just have celery. I can't really even think of what fat I would ever combine with fruit. I really can't. Hold on one second. Okay, so the only thing I was thinking was maybe dates, right? But it says dates only have 0.5 gram of fat, but it's a little bit of fat, right? I mean, that's something I can maybe incorporate. Anyway, again, the body's super capable, and I can't worry about it, and my blood tests say I'm rocking the world, so I'm going to stay with that. Okay, because again, I'll start to freak out. Darn it. Okay, one small study found that consuming vegetables with salad dressings that contain higher levels of fat was associated with increased absorption of carotenoids. Your best bet to avoid missing out on these important nutrients is to pair carotenoid-containing vegetables with heart-healthy fats like nuts, seeds, olive oil, avocados, whatever. Try adding some cheese. Yeah, I'm not doing cheese. I'm not doing olive oil, as you know. But for civilians, to your salad or topping your steamed broccoli with a little bit of butter. No. All right, spinach and dairy products. Foods such as spinach, chocolate, and tea contain oxalate, an anti-nutrient that can bind with calcium to form an insoluble compound. This can be good or bad for you depending on the circumstance. For people who are prone to certain types of kidney stones, consuming calcium sources such as dairy products with oxalate containing foods can actually decrease the risk of developing kidney stones. Wow, that's interesting. On the other hand, combining oxalates and calcium decreases the absorption of calcium. For most people, this is no problem in the context of a balanced diet. However, people who don't eat much calcium in the first place or who eat a diet very high in oxalates, this interaction may cause a problem. People, please know that greens are packed with calcium, so you don't need to consume milk to get it, and you don't need to panic on that. If you're concerned about getting enough calcium from your diet, avoid combining dairy products and other calcium-rich foods with foods that are high in oxalates. Foods that are high in oxalates include spinach, nuts, chocolate, tea, beets, rhubarb, strawberries, among others. And again, there's a hyperlink for that. Bottom line, most of the principles of food combining are not based on science, and there's no evidence to support the idea that improper food combining contributes to disease or toxins in the body. Furthermore, because there's so many rules and regulations, some people may find that food combining diets can be complicated and difficult to follow. However, it is fine to incorporate the principles of food combining into a healthy, well-rounded diet if you find that that works for you. Try this today. Instead of food combining, there's many science-based strategies you can use to support your gut health and digestion. Check out this article. And of course, it's a hyperlink. Anyway, just super interesting, you guys. Again, I always just share on Jules Blessed Vegan for me and hoping it'll touch somebody else. I would love to know in the comments below if that's your story. What do you think about that? Are you hung up on food combining? And what do you love about it? Or are you just like, no, Jules, I think the body's very capable and I'm just going to go, in the right direction. All right, like if you like doing this, if you haven't, subscribe. Let me know in the comments below how I may support you. And until we talk again, know that even if I don't have a daily video, I am always thinking of my JVV community. And therefore, you're blessed.